Thank God for GPT. It educates all of us. Great to be back here again in Thunder Bay for the second year of this the CEN CAN conference. Had the pleasure of speaking here last year, and great to see another really good attendance this year again. So 15 minutes to talk about our projects, our direction in Ontario. So here we are, Green Technology Metals. Firstly, our Indigenous partners' acknowledgement. Gigi Mwesh, my pronunciation isn't that good, but I'm getting better at it. But one thing that we take very seriously here is our First Nations partnerships. We have multiple, there's some in the room today, so we certainly thank our Indigenous partners for their support in helping us develop our projects going forward. GT1. So why invest in GT1? I don't know how many investors there are in the room. I think there's probably more topical and local experts, but we certainly believe that we're a really undervalued company. We've certainly invested up to about 80 or even $100 million in Ontario now for 4 years of operating up here. We've established a resource of around about 30 million tonnes, so we're the second largest resource for spodumene and lithium that has been unearthed here in Ontario, and we believe there's a lot more out there with more exploration. Strategy, we've got a low capex, medium scale project strategy to bring them into production. That's certainly been our strategy from day one. We are close to roads and infrastructure. We're extremely advanced. We have studies that we've completed, PEAs on both our mines, and we are in the midst of a DFS on our closest to production asset, which is the Seymour asset. We've got great government support. I mean, just talking with Mr. Lecce outside, you know, we are on the map. We are looking very good for more potential government funding on the horizon, which is great to see them supporting critical minerals projects. We have received a $100 million letter of intent from the EDC, the Economic Development Corporation of Canada, and we have received funding from the Critical Minerals Infrastructure Fund, and we have some more submissions in at the moment for adjudication. We are close to port and rail to the great city of Thunder Bay. It's an amazing place. It's a great place to be developing projects. The infrastructure here is amazing, and the people are great as well. We have world-leading partners. So we have EcoPro and LG Energy Solutions, which are both Korean companies which de-risk project delivery, but they're also battery materials leaders globally in the space that we're looking to get into. And myself and the team, we are project developers. We're not just explorers, we're not just drilling holes. We're really ready to develop these projects and get into production. As a corporate snapshot, share price just under 4 cents, market cap around 20 million. But our board and directors, myself as the managing director, we've got huge experience in developing mines globally. Our chairman was the founder of a company by the name of Pilbara Minerals, which is one of the biggest lithium companies in the world in Western Australia. We have other great board support, and then also we have EcoPro Innovation representation on our board from Hangzhou, who is based in South Korea. So here's our projects. Seymour, just north of Thunder Bay, 324 kilometres to the town of Armstrong, and we're just north of that. It's our eastern hub. It's our first project that we will be bringing into production. Second part of our strategy is to develop processing here in Thunder Bay. It is a regional hub. It has the opportunity to really be on the face of the map for developing lithium supply chain in Ontario. And our third part of the strategy is our larger project, which we are sort of unearthing and spending more time on at the moment, which is the Root project, which is about 500 kilometres northwest of Ontario, of Thunder Bay, sorry. You guys are in a great jurisdiction here. I mean, it is a tier 1 jurisdiction globally. For mine development, we just heard the Ontario Mining Association sort of second that as well. Huge amounts of GDP are generated from Ontario, and mining is the game of the northwestern part. So we're really proud to be a part of that and promoting it on a global stage as well. I mean, there's a picture here of us in Japan a couple of weeks ago with the Critical Minerals Infrastructure Fund on the mission that the Canadian government's taken to Japan and Korea. The partnerships and I think the relationships between Japan and Korea and Canada are growing and making them really strong trade partners into the future. There's one thing that it's very topical, talking about the US and removing the reliance on the US for exports. There's absolutely no doubt that the Canadian government is aligning themselves with technology partners and downstream technology producers such as Japan and Korea. There's also the huge domestic supply chain push here in Ontario. There's not one other jurisdiction globally where you can have your mine and you can have midstream development into cell manufacturing and downstream into EVs all within the one province. To have mines within sort of 1,600 kilometres of EV production is second to none globally. So the Seymour project, here we are. This is our first major project. It's low hurdle into production, capex, processing, and from a management perspective as well. We're extremely advanced. We've done a heap of drilling. We're about 60% of the way through a definitive feasibility study. We've got strong stakeholder engagement and permitting, which is near completion. We've got about 10.3 million tonnes at just over 1%. We've got 60% of that resource in the indicated category, which means we have high confidence in the resource. We've got about a 7-year mine life at this stage, and depending on which pricing forecast you use, we've got some pretty good economics there of around about 250 US after tax NPV. You can see some images on the right-hand side there. That's got the North Albury and South Albury deposits. It's very simple mining, a couple of years open pit and the rest underground. We've got really coarse spodumene, so for those geos in the room, it's the easiest to process. We just use gravity separation, no chemicals. Basically quarry washing is the way we described it. It's a very simple process. I myself have built multiple of these processing plants and operated them globally. So for us, it's what we do. We have offtake with LG Energy Solutions, and we also have identified some high-value byproducts in the mine as well, which will bring additional economics, which we hope to release in the DFS coming up as well. Here's just a bit more information on those numbers. We're producing about 130,000 tonnes of spodumene concentrate per annum. Critically in these numbers here, 680 US is our C1 cost, which will be delivered free on board in Thunder Bay to be able to ship anywhere in the world or maintain here for our second part of our strategy, which we are very focused on. And it does have quite strong economics depending on which price you use in your pricing forecast. And unfortunately, is for those that follow the lithium industry, it is up and down. We are in probably a low point at the moment of lithium pricing, but we're certainly ready for the rebound when it comes in the not too distant future. This is where we're at on a timeline. From a timeline perspective, about 80% through the permitting and approvals process. The team's been working really hard to understand the process here in Ontario, which is great. We're about 70% through the DFS, so we look to be producing that DFS mid next year, along with the final stages of our permitting. Looking to finance mid-year and potentially, obviously with support from our First Nations and all of our partners, we've got the opportunity to potentially start constructing next year. This is a bit on the byproducts that we talked about before from the chat GPT. It's great, everyone learns from it every day I think, but we've actually announced one of the largest rubidium resources, certainly in a listed company globally at the moment. Rubidium is quite an opaque mineral that does have quite a lot of electronic applications and defence applications as well. It's actually on the US critical minerals list, not on the Canadian, but we do have a really large rubidium resource. And we're certainly looking at that to be included into the DFS. And as a waste product, we certainly think that they can add to the project economics by concentrating that up and potentially selling it. So we're doing a lot more work on that at the moment, along with tantalum as well, which is certainly another critical mineral on the list. Conversion facility, so this is the important part for Thunder Bay. We have been looking for multiple sites across the region, I think, over the last few years. But we have got a preferred site selected, we have submitted government fundings, and we do have a strategic partnership with our Korean partners to produce lithium chemicals in the province. We have formed a strategic partnership with EcoPro Innovation. They're a $10 billion South Korean battery materials producer. They've been producing lithium hydroxide for probably about 10, 12 years now. They're one of the global leaders in the development of battery materials from PCAM, as we just heard mentioned before, but also CAM and also lithium hydroxide. So developing these projects, I've been involved with quite a few. It is a huge technical risk. We want to make sure that our development path is de-risked. So if we are receiving government support, that we do ensure that that investment from the government is protected, and we think one of the only ways to do that is by partnering with global producers that understand the product, they understand the significance of getting it right, and have done that. So we certainly think we've putting the right pieces of the puzzle together. The site's got amazing infrastructure, operating port. We've obviously got great electricity supply and natural gas supply in the area of Thunder Bay, and so we're actually progressing a preliminary feasibility study right now to look at the economics and do further engineering on that site. One of the most important things with developing these downstream projects is ensuring that your process can process the materials from the upstream, from the concentrates. So we did ship a ton of material over to South Korea, and they processed through their pilot plant, mimicking the flow sheet that we will be looking to produce in the main facility. They ran it through the pilot plant, 2 300 kilo packages, and produced battery grade lithium hydroxide. So the most important part here is they have their own, EcoPro have their own specification, which they determine they can produce the chemicals to, which can be sold. They have current offtakes. So it's very different than to going to just an engineering company and asking them to build you a facility, because they can't warrant and they can't produce the specification required. Whereas you go to an end producer and an end supplier, such as EcoPro, and they can guarantee and warrant the product that you're producing. So we think that's a huge advantage for us in this race to production. Last but not least, the Root Lithium project. This is the larger of our 2 projects, and we have been spending a lot of time up there since I was here last year. We've certainly doubled the resource. We know that there's long-term feed source up there. It's plus 10 years. We know there's more to be discovered, so we're actively looking at how we can do further exploration to the east. And we certainly know that the project has very robust economics. So we have completed a PEA on this project as well. But 20 million tonnes at 1.24, so it's quite a much higher grade project. We have some really high grade intercepts through there as well. For the geologists in the room, the rock up there, the spodumene is a little bit finer grained, so we will have to go through a comminution stage to grind and to liberate and then recover the minerals. But we will get a lot higher recoveries. Certainly very strong economics, 668 million after tax MPV for the project. We're about to embark on a PFS, and we have a potential project timeline, if all the stars align, to be commencing construction in late 2027, obviously working with our First Nations partners on that. We have done a bulk sample, and we'll be doing further test work on that as we progress through the PFS next year. And we may even fall under the 1P new project permitting system, which Mr. Lecce was just talking about. Great infrastructure. The Watt-High power line runs through the site, so within about 2 kilometres of the processing plant. So that's a huge bonus. Hydropower and Indigenous owned power from that sort of area is certainly a huge advantage to our project. And only 500 kilometres still from Thunder Bay doesn't make it too far from a logistical standpoint. Here's the economics on the project. 677 is our C1 cost delivered into Thunder Bay, and as I said before, 668 MPV. We are producing a lot more material there, so about 215,000 tonnes per annum of spodumene concentrate. But between the Root and the Seymour project, they will both feed a conversion facility for around 20 to 25 years, which is what we need to get to, with further exploration upside coming as well. There's the resource there. We've extended it down below the 200 metre depth. It certainly is two open pits, a couple of years of open pit processing, and then the rest will be underground. And the resource is open at depth to the south and the southwest, so we can continue to expand that as we go, and we will be doing that into the future. So the key catalysts for us over the next 18 months, in the last quarter of 2025 will be further permitting milestones. And early next year, our closure plan submission for approvals, sort of Q1, Q2. The completion of the DFS and financial investment decision, hopefully mid-year next year. This is all market depending. We do need the lithium market to improve and move, but certainly we think that we are right on the cusp of being in the right timing as the market does improve, coming off historical lows. with the potential to start construction towards the end of the next year, which is where we would like to be. We do have sort of more approvals potentially coming from CMIF and potentially further funding, which is great to be supported by the Canadian government from many different aspects, from not only provincial but federal as well. And we've got further studies and piloting work to do into the future. So that's about it. Appreciate everyone spending the time to come down to CEN CAN and support the mining industry. It's a great industry, so let's hope that green technology will be the first lithium producer in Ontario in the future. Thank you.